Hey guys, another episode of Sportschat with DJ Matt. Here we are. I'm DJ Matt. As always, I'm joined with DJ Echo.
What up, what up?
That's right. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, follow us on the Instagrams at Sportschat with DJ Matt 1. That's the number 1. So we have it's kind of a stack show, I guess. There's a lot that happened. I forgot about one thing. Okay, so when we were talking about the contract extensions and stuff, the deadline was last Thursday or last Wednesday or whatever it was. And right when we finished the show, filming the show, at that time Derrick Henry wasn't getting a contract. We thought he was just gonna be franchise tag. But like 2 hours later, he ended up getting the extension. So I think he signed a 4-year, $85 million deal, something like that. So he did sign that extension. So yeah. So Titans are now back in the game in terms of maybe being contenders. Now that they have that figured out.
Yeah, I mean, everything that I said last week applies to the same thing, just locking him up. Let's see exactly what his contract is worth.
Yeah, I know it was 4 years. I know that for sure. I don't know about the numbers. I think it was like 80-something, maybe 60 actually. I don't remember.
It's a 4-year, $50 million contract that includes $25 million guaranteed.
Okay.
And
yeah.
That's from – so.
All right. Good deal then. So, yeah, so Titans, now I'm safe to say now that I think they're in the game. They're definitely a team that could make another run, barring injury. So I just wanted to note that because last week he wasn't signed and we talked about him not being signed, but now he's signed. So the first real topic today. So the NFL players, like I think might have been Sunday or Saturday, they were going off on the NFL about like, hey, what's the actual procedures of like us being safe with the COVID? Like, what's the actual protocol going to be? Because the NFL to that point has not been clear, I guess, on what they were trying to do. And within those talks, the NFLPA and the NFL, obviously the league, there will be no preseason games at all. So like originally there was going to be only 2. Now there's none. So we're going straight to regular season whenever that starts. And so the NFL said within the first 2 weeks of training camp, I think, is like testing every day. And then after that, it will be like every other day or something. So what do you think about all the stuff in the NFL and the COVID stuff?
I think that it makes sense to get rid of the preseason games, just hop right into the regular season because right now, as far as we're aware, we don't know how long this is going to last. So it's better just to start with the regular season instead of have preseason games. You risk people getting tested positive and then, they have problems. But there is definitely some growing concerns that I've heard from the players about, what is going to happen. Like you said, I think it's a legitimate concern because all the other sports have put out plans, and of course they're also playing right now or going to start playing, but football hasn't said anything about this, and it's quite worrying,
They've had the longest time to come up with something because they've been knowing since March, and they've had how many months? 4 or 5 months to figure this out, something like that. 3 or 4
exactly months? Yeah.
So yeah, I don't understand why they don't have a protocol, a legit like this is what's gonna happen plan. They just seem to just be going with the flow. Like whatever happens, I guess that's what it seems like.
Yeah, and I don't know what they are gonna do because unlike basketball, you can't just put all of the players in a bubble and do like that. It's a lot harder whenever they're spread out. And like, what place would you pick to send all of them? And you need multiple fields, locker rooms, stuff like this. You need a place for all. Plus, NFL teams are much bigger than NBA teams. NBA teams are usually in the low teens. NFL teams are in the 60s. So we're looking at a big difference. Plus, there's more teams in the NFL. So that they can't do that. So what are they going to do? Are they just going to have to say, well, just be safe, don't get tested for the virus, and if you do, you just have to miss 2 weeks? Like I don't know what they're going to do and really what they can do. So, I mean, there is a small chance that if this doesn't get better, which I mean, really, in terms of cases, we're seeing a spike. In terms of deaths, it's very low compared to the amount of cases, but still, it's still a factor. So I don't know what the plan is. What even could be a plan for the NFL?
And another thing too is that like the MLB, they regionalize their schedule. So like teams are not going across the country. The NFL has done nothing like that. So if a team has to play like in LA, like a New York has to play LA, they're flying across the whole country. So what I think the NFL should do, I just came up with this when while you were talking, I was thinking about stuff that they could do. I was like, why don't they just let them play the divisional games? Like do like what the MLS is doing, like a World Cup type thing. Like you play within your division, right? And then like two best teams out of that, whatever how many games you want to have them play, the two best teams will make up the playoff field. So like you will have, let's say, 8 teams in the playoffs this year, and then 8 teams. So you can do like a playoff like that, and I think it'll work out, and it'd be shorter time because they have to think about it. So you have basically a 4-month season, right? 4 months, and then you have another month of playoffs. So I mean that's a lot of time for something to go wrong. So if I'm the NFL, I want to shorten the season, honestly.
Yeah, I agree, but I mean, let's be realistic. As a football fan, would you really want to watch that? I mean, if you say, okay, we're going to play in the division, I mean, for us as NFC South fans, it could potentially be exciting. You know, you're going to see the Saints play the Buccaneers. You're going to see the Saints play the Falcons. Even whenever we play Carolina, it's hard hitting. But what about fans in the AFC West? If you're not a Chiefs fan, you know, every single time you play the Chiefs, what's the even point of watching? And as a Chiefs fan, you know, you got to think, okay, well, they could probably win all of these games. So, yes, you have to find a medium happy balance of where it's safe, but it's still interesting to watch. Because at the end of the day, if they're not getting any people watching, because it's like, oh, it's the same thing over and over again. I mean, what's the point at that point?
Well, we could alter the plan and be like, well, maybe not just the divisions, but like let's say you can play across the conferences. Like New Orleans can play a Houston. They're in a different, they're in this like they're close but not different. You can do that. Like just regionalize the schedule. Because I don't like the idea of a team going all the way across country to play a game. Even if there's no fans in the stands, whatever, that's still a hotel you got to go to. They're not limited to where they can and cannot go once they get there. So that's something too. I think a lot's gonna go wrong in this NFL season. I don't know if it's gonna finish. I remain optimistic, but at the same time, I'm still a realist, and I'm like, I don't see how this is gonna end well, the way we think,
Yeah, and I think the biggest problem is how big the teams are when it comes to the NFL. Because, like, with the NBA, with something like that, it's very easy for them to say, okay, well, let's just throw everybody into a bubble. Games are usually shorter than NFL games. So that's an adding factor to it. And you only got 5 guys on the court at one for each team at one time. So at the most, you got 10 guys. You think about 4 or 5 refs that you have. So it's not that many people. For an NFL game, you've got 6 or 7 refs plus 11 people for each side. So that's 22 plus the 6 or 7. Then you got to think you're going to have the media down there. I don't know how much, but you're going to have the media down there. Plus all the coaches that are on the sideline, as well as the bench players, So it's a lot harder for them to say. So I don't even know if the season is going to happen. I don't know what kind of plan that they can put forward. Plus the fact that we have said that different states have different guidelines. Some states you can hold meetings of up to 100 people. Others, it's not even up to 10. So, that's something to take in consideration as well. One week you may be able to have the entire team, and then the next week you won't. So,
yeah,
it's just.
I guess one thing they could do also is like they could eliminate maybe third string players, like have them on call and retainer, but like don't have them travel. You know what I'm saying? Unless you really need them. You know what I'm saying? So like only bring maybe your first and second stringers potentially. That could
I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it could work.
Yeah. It's a big question mark. And obviously I don't trust Roger, so that's cool. So we're gonna switch gears. So again, like I said, after we filmed the show, more stuff came out about the Washington football team. Some of these allegations, because it was rumored that the Washington Post had like this big bombshell report on them, like some dirt on like Daniel Snyder and that whole organization. Some of these allegations was kind of crazy, like the rumors and stuff. I read one. This was a crazy one, by the way, and if this was actually true, I would have flipped my stuff. Like it'd have been crazy. So the one rumor I read was that so apparently one of the running backs and Coach Jay Gruden, when he was on the team, were sleeping with the same woman, and Jay Gruden found out, and so he benched that player. But that player was a key player in terms of blocking for the passing game. So the substitute player that was in for that player was on the play that Alex Smith got hurt, and he missed the block. So if this was true, I would have flipped it. Because think about it. So a quarterback almost died basically with all the surgeries and stuff he had to go through because you were upset with a player because he was sleeping with the woman you were sleeping with. You know what I'm saying? If that was true, it's not true. But if it was true, that's crazy. That's wild.
Yeah, they have a lot more allegations against the Washington Redskins, and of course the Washington Post didn't put out all of them, and I think because they weren't able to verify all of them.
Yeah, that was just a rumor I read.
Some of them I think they proved to not be true, but some of them are still on the table as far as I heard. You know, they haven't been proved or disproved. I mean, some of them are really, really bad. Notably, yeah. But the ones that did come out that they have confirmed are pretty bad.
Yeah, they're bad. So the real report that came out is the 15 women alleged. I forgot the names and the positions, but like people that were within Daniel Snyder's inner circle, they accused them of sexual misconduct and abuse and that kind of stuff, which is outrageous and should be allowed nowhere. Like sexual abuse, like if you abuse somebody sexually, then you're going to hell in my book. Like,
yeah, and I think right now we should just burn the whole team, get rid of it, get a new one. Because I mean, in addition with the whole name thing, whether or not you think it's racist towards Native Americans, now this is another big problem, you know.
Yeah, this is my question though, because so I'm thinking in my mind, Washington is not a good team. They haven't been good in the last couple of years, and from what has been going on behind the scenes, it makes sense, right? It just seems like okay, yeah, they're not worried about playing football; they're worried about other stuff that is stupid. So Daniel Snyder has not been accused directly of any of this stuff, but it did happen on his watch, and I'm looking at the Redskins now. It's kind of like almost being the Knicks. Like you have a bad owner that's just in the way of your success, and if I think Daniel Snyder should sell the team, although he probably won't because he's not been accused of any of this, but like it still happened on his watch. He's been the constant, like James Dolan in the Knicks. He's been the constant. I think Daniel Snyder, if they really want to make this team a winner or at least attempt, they need him out. I don't like him. He's the worst owner in football in my opinion. They need him out. He's terrible for the league.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you saw all of the allegations against the Redskins, but if even half of those are true,
oh yeah, I read them all. Yeah,
I would say that Roger Goodell needs to step in and just take Daniel Snyder out of the position, or somebody needs to step in and tell him you need to sell the team because you're not going to be an owner of an NFL team. Period. Like I guess we're not going to talk about them, but if you want to go look for them, they're somewhere you can find them. If even half of those are true, notably the one regarding the cheerleaders, if that's true, I would say Daniel Snyder needs to be taken out of that position because that one is really, really bad.
Yeah.
That one is the worst one. In my opinion, that one is the worst one. Of course, the other things that he was doing with Jay Gruden, if that stuff is true, I mean, it's bad, but like it's not as bad as
the NFL ever again if those are true.
Exactly. And my thing with the Washington football team right now is that they got a lot of things to worry about. One thing that I did see, I don't know if you saw this, I saw it while I was preparing for the show this morning. I saw that a Reddit user found that there has been, I think, copyright for the Washington Senators, and it's not by the guy that went and copyrighted all of those names.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like it's an outside source, the Centennials. Now, one thing to note is that football teams, well, any team will do this sometimes. They'll copyright potential names. so that whenever they pick one, they already have it. They don't have to worry about it being taken. Like the guy that took all of the names for the Redskins. So that is something to note, but it looks like that's the name that they're with right now is the Centennials.
Yeah,
Which,
I read that too. One more thing I want to bring up with this because, okay, so we're not that high on Dwayne Haskins as a quarterback. But noting what this organization has been doing, this team seems like it's just set up to fail. Like, so I'm giving Dwayne Haskins a huge pass, honestly, because I feel like I'm giving all the players a pass. Like, Ron Rivera's a great coach. He's going to be the one to fix that culture. But all the players in the past years, I'm giving them a huge pass because
how about
there's no way you can win with that goal.
Environment.
Yeah.
Coming out of college, Chase Young, and then now he's going to be a Redskin, and this is Washington football team player, and this is what's happening.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's sad that an organization like that in the NFL that's going on. That's ridiculous.
Well, and they now I don't know if the one with the refs was true. I haven't heard anything about that with Dan Snyder and the refs.
That would make me laugh because, like, you saw the quote was like, if that's true, then we should deserve our money back or something because, like, they weren't winning anything.
Yeah, but also part of that is that he wasn't the only one reportedly that was doing that. So if that one's true, that's going to cause a whole league investigation. It's not just going to be on the Washington football team. That's going to be on the entire league. And honestly, if that one's true, which I wouldn't be surprised if it is, because I mean, honestly, some of these officiating calls have been ridiculous. But
came out that ref at the Rams and the Saints thing. If he was paid off, oh boy, oh
yeah. I guess this one we can talk about because it's not like bad in terms of what we would say, but it's bad. Dan Snyder apparently was paying off reps, with one of them reportedly making $2 million off of the Redskins alone. And in the allegation, it said that he was not the only one owner paying off reps in the NFL.
I'm not surprised by that. To be honest with you, I'm not that surprised.
Exactly. I'm not surprised by that. And I mean, I think we as football fans have always somewhat suspected it, but there have never been anybody come out and say, oh, it's true. So this is the first time that we're getting any hint of a name to the owners paying, which, yeah, like you said, I mean, if they were paying off refs, I mean, that just goes to show you that you can pay off refs, but if you're a horrible football team, it doesn't matter.
Well, it's like I view that as the same way I view like the NCAA and like paying the players to go play at this university or something. It's like some people get caught, but it's like everyone's doing it. So
yeah.
Like, honestly, if like everyone's paying off the refs, I mean, it's bad. I mean, I hate that. I don't condone it. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I kind of figured. I mean, the way these refs are reffing these games, there's no way like a sane person would make these calls sometimes.
Yeah.
Same thing with that pass interference rule. Like, that was set up to fail from the beginning. And, like, you can't tell me, like, it was, like, you know what I mean?
I think it wouldn't have been as bad if every single time they went for it, they wouldn't have changed. Because there were some times that they made the call that it should have been changed, but they were over here like, what's passing? So I think, honestly, they need to get some new officials because, in my opinion, the officials that we have right now are crooked up the wazoo. You need to define what is and what isn't pass interference. I think that's what should have been done. Not let's be able to review pass interference. I think that we should have looked down, sat in the rule book, and said what is and what isn't pass interference. What constitutes as pass interference?
Right. Yeah. Easier said than done, though.
I understand, but that should have been done. And that's what still should happen. Because that's such a big problem right now. I mean, it's not just Saints fans that are seeing it now. It's other teams, sports fans. Of course, like Rams fans are like, oh, Saints fan needs to shut up. But, like, other teams are seeing, like, yeah, this is a problem.
Yeah. So, switching gears to another team that is looking to sell. So, Glenn Taylor, owner of the Minnesota Timberwolves, is looking to – he's taking in calls into selling the team. Like, there's no official – he's not officially selling it, but like, he's taking in calls. People are offering him to sell. So some people, noteworthy people, the Wilf family who owns the Vikings, they're in the mix to potentially buy the Timberwolves. Kevin Garnett is forming a group of people to buy the Timberwolves. And that is actually particular of note because obviously he was drafted by the Timberwolves. And the Timberwolves wanted to retire his number, I think, this upcoming season. And Kevin Garnett said with that ownership, he wasn't going to go to the ceremony or something like that. So if he ends up buying the team, well, he's going to go to the ceremony now. you know, and with the Timberwolves, it's interesting because they're not, to me, they're slowly but surely going into mediocrity. Like they've had good players, like Karl-Anthony Towns is a good player. They got D'Angelo Russell, who's a good player. But like they've underachieved like big time these last couple of years. And to me, they're slowly but surely, going down a bad path. And I think Glenn Taylor's smart enough to know, like, hey, maybe I'm not right for this. Maybe someone new needs to come in here. That way, maybe, turn it around. And he's also said he's selling to somebody that's not going to move the team out of Minnesota, which I think is a good idea. Because I think Timberwolves in Minnesota makes sense. So what you think about all that?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense. You want to get off the sinking ship before it fully sinks. But yeah, Minnesota has been one of those teams that, like, I mean, I guess it's like I'm not trying to speak down of Karl-Anthony Towns, but like, if you're, listed as a lot of people to be the top 3 center of the league, which I mean, centers, I don't know, it's weird because it's like, I don't see it. Like, it's weird because if you put a forward on a team or a guard on a team of lackluster talent, they can take it. But if you put a center, like, you just don't see it happening. But yeah, they do have good players, Karl-Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell of note. But I think it's weird that Kevin Garnett wants to buy it because of all of the, bad blood that has been. But
well, I think he wants to buy it so he can maybe change it, maybe try to build a winning culture there. Because Minnesota's not a winning culture in basketball; they're just not, And I think like because obviously we didn't see a lot of D'Angelo Russell in Minnesota before the season ended, but like I think Karl-Anthony Towns can be a next level player. Like he just needs to jump to one more level. And if he has a strong running mate with him, I think Minnesota can potentially become a playoff kind of team. And obviously the West is the toughest conference. There's so many great teams. But I mean, if they get a new culture in there, maybe trade for Devin Booker, if they form that trio with Russell and Towns and Booker, which is what they want to do, what Towns want and what Russell wants, because they're all college.
And Booker that too, yeah.
Yeah, because Phoenix ain't really. Phoenix is not bad, but they're just, again, like the Timberwolves, they're just not there.
Phoenix has not been relevant since Steve Nash was on the Suns. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. So I think I think getting Kevin Garnett in there would be interesting. I like to see how that would play out in terms of building maybe potentially a contender. I think Karl-Anthony Towns can be a player on a contending team. He's good. He's an all-star, right? I mean, he's got great potential. D'Angelo Russell's amazing too. Like they can do it.
I think what needs to happen is they go get Devin Booker. He can play shooting guard. D'Angelo would play more point. And you just need some solid forwards. I mean, you don't need world-ending talent at forward. You just need some solid forwards, and you got Karl-Anthony Towns, and I could do that. I could see that team upsetting a team like the Clippers. Somebody like that possibly.
And look, the draft lottery also has been moved up 5 days. Make that a note. But if somehow the Timberwolves can land a high pick, they can draft James Wiseman, who's a forward, I think.
Yeah.
If they can get him, maybe they could build something with him, and that could be a monumental piece to build something. So yeah, Glenn Taylor's not a horrible owner. I'm not gonna say he's a bad owner, because some of the owners that we previously talked about, he's definitely not in that category.
No.
But maybe he's realizing he's like, I'm kind of holding the team back. Maybe I'm gonna field some calls and see what's gonna happen. So I'm kind of forward for that. So speaking of the bubble, tonight NBA scrimmages start tonight. Pelicans play the Nets tonight. We're filming this on Wednesday, so Wednesday night. So by the time you watch this, the game will be over. But Zion is still not with the team because he's still dealing with that family matter. Everyone is over playing that. He's gonna be back in time for this restart. Like, it's gonna be fine. Like, and besides, those first 2 games, they're gonna probably lose those first 2 games anyway. So with or without Zion, that's just a couple less games he has to play. So
they're just scrimmages. So I mean.
Yeah, So, but the thing of note is that so the NBA bubble has now have 0 positive tests after like 400 tests or something they did. There's no positive cases in the bubble. So the bubble seems to be working, which is really good, which I thought it would actually. And the MLS, I don't know if they have any negative or positive cases, but like they're still playing and they're still moving on, and it seems to be working there too, for the most part. So the bubble format seemed to be working. So that's definitely encouraging. So, but I'm ready for some basketball though, man. Ooh, Lord.
Yeah, I'm ready to watch basketball. I'm not ready for some aspects of it, but I'm ready for basketball.
Yeah,
I'm ready for us to have. You know what? Let me put it this way. I'm ready for us to have something to talk about. That's what I'm ready.
there we go. yeah. Yeah, I'm just really, really excited. And obviously we talked about the Rockets last week. Another team that people are saying could make a run. Two teams actually. Miami and Boston can maybe make a run for the finals. I say Boston more so than Miami, but Miami can make some noise in that thing.
Me personally, I think that maturity-wise, Miami is still maybe 1 or 2 years out from really making a serious run. I think Boston has the pieces in place to make a serious run right now. And that's not saying that Miami Heat doesn't have the talent to make the run right now. I just think that they still need a year or two to really get there. And of course, there are reports of the Heat possibly going in for Giannis whenever he becomes available. So it seems like if he doesn't stay with the Bucks, he'll either go to the Heat or the Warriors. Those seem to be the two front running teams for Giannis.
Toronto's in play.
Toronto too. So I think if the Heat can get Giannis, then obviously they'll be contenders. But I think right now with the team that they have, I think maybe next year or the year after they'll be in place to make a serious run. Just because they're just they're so young of a team. Like outside of Jimmy Butler, most of them are young guys.
Yeah. The thing with the Bucks, which is interesting, is like so next season you have to deal with the Brooklyn Nets with more than likely a healthy Kevin Durant and a healthy Kyrie. They're going to be a problem in the East if they remain healthy. So if you're Giannis, right, and let's say you don't win the championship this year, how good do you think your chances are next year? Because I think this is your best year to win if you're going to win in Milwaukee. So if they don't win this year, I could definitely see Giannis leaving. Not because he hates Milwaukee, but because like, how am I going to win again? I need to form my own super team because basically Brooklyn's not really a super team, but it's like a super-ish team, KD and Kyrie. So you got to think Miami's definitely an option to, if he wants to compete in the East, which I think if I'm him, I'm staying in the East. I wouldn't go to the West.
Yeah,
I would go with the Warriors. You have to play the Lakers and the Clippers.
I think after looking at KD and whenever he made the move to the Warriors and how he got blasted by the media, rightfully so for joining already such a super powerful team in the Warriors and then already making them even more unbeatable. I think after looking at the media backlash that KD kind of got, I think it would be smart for him to not go to the Warriors and to kind of go to like the Heat or something. Because you got to think about the Warriors are probably going to get a high-level pick this year.
Right.
So they could potentially get a really good draft pick. And then on top of that, if they get Giannis, over with.
Over. Yeah.
So you'd have Curry, Clay, Draymond, whoever this draft pick could be, in Giannis.
I mean, it doesn't matter where. If he goes to Toronto, I think they'd be just as powerful as he would be in Miami. I mean, Pascal Siakam, he's a really good player. And Kyle Lowry's still there. So you can form a great team in Toronto and make a run in Toronto. But I think Miami would be the better option, though.
I think that he would be the better option for him, too. I think he would complement the Heat better than he would with Toronto because I view Giannis as like a power forward guy, and Pascal Siakam is also a power forward guy, so that would definitely be some clashing of who would play center.
Yeah, but the Heat, so Bam Adebayo is a center, and you have Giannis as a power forward, and Jimmy Butler plays, I think, the 2 or 3 or something, right?
Yeah,
that's a pretty legitimate. And Tyler Heroes and Kendrick Nunn. Whew. That's gonna be a tough team. I think it's gonna be between the Nets and the Heat in that next year if that happens.
Yeah, and I think if he wins in Milwaukee,
he'll stay.
Yeah. I don't know. Giannis may be the type of guy that might just stay with Milwaukee his entire career.
But I wouldn't be mad at that. I respect that, actually. And they'd be a good team for years to come. They'll still be a good team next year if he stays. But then you have to think about, your chances of actually winning, because then Brooklyn's going to be a way better team than you are this year. You know what I mean? And Boston's still good, and he's still fighting a lot of teams in the East. I think if you were to form a super team in the East, because in the West, you got the Lakers, Clippers, Rockets, Pelicans in the next couple of years, Memphis. I mean, you got all these teams you got to worry about. Denver and Utah. It's too crowded in the West. You need to stay in the East, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good news tomorrow night. Well, by the time you watch the video, it'll be that night, whatever, Thursday. Baseball officially starts. We got opening day. The first game is it Yankees Nationals the first game? Or is it Dodgers Nationals? No, it's Yankees Nationals. Then it's Dodgers and Giants, I believe. I think.
Can't wait to see Saquon in action.
What?
Yeah, the Giants. Can't wait to see Saquon Barkley in action.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't get the joke.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm stupid. Okay.
New York Giants, man. Dan Jones, Anyway.
But this is a very interesting year for baseball. There's only 60 games. They finally lowered the games for this season. Thank God. I can't do 160 games. But just 60. Regionalized schedule. It's going to be a sprint, not a marathon, as everyone's saying. Every team, I think, is going to be in it till the very end, until the playoffs start. I think, everyone's saying like Mike Trout might be the best in baseball right now, but he's on a team that hasn't completed the mission of going to the World Series and winning. This might be his best chance to do that, honestly, because it's such a shorter season. It's less chances to fall apart. I think this might be Mike Trout's best chance to win a World Series with the Angels. That's my hot take. But I'm not picking him, though, to go to World Series, but just saying this is his best chance.
I don't know if it's a hot take. I think it's just a take, but okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to pick a favorite. I mean, I know Dodgers and Yankees are the two teams that everyone's like, yeah, those are the two favorites. But you look at the rest of the landscape, I mean, you got the Braves. The Astros are still good. I mean, the Diamondbacks got better. You're looking at the Rockies are not a bad team. The Twins are a good team. What other team? The Rays are a team that might be a sleeper team for some people. The Nationals and the Phillies, obviously. Nationals World Series champs last year. The Phillies with Bryce Harper, and they got Andrew McCutchen and Didi Gregorius. So and the Mets too, actually, a team that some people might view as potentially becoming favorites. So I mean, there's a lot of teams that normally maybe you won't say that, oh yeah, they're in it, but because it's such a shorter season, I think every team's going to be fighting for those spots. It's going to be an exciting season.
I'm going to go with the Marlins. That's what I'm going to go with.
You know what? I like the Marlins. I really do. But
Just kidding. I don't watch baseball.
They suck.
I know. That's why I picked them.
Yeah. But you know what, though? Baseball is such a random sport. They might end up making the playoffs. It's possible. The way to see – I mean, if they start off good, hey, you never know. Baseball is that random. But I'm excited. I'm excited for baseball. Like tomorrow night, I'm literally going to watch baseball, which like normally I wouldn't do, but I will. I'm staying up and I'm watching some baseball because I just miss it. Yeah. So sports are officially back, I guess. I guess we could say that. Sports are officially back. It's been a little bit, but hey.
I mean, technically they've been officially back for a while, but the big sports are officially back.
The big sports are officially back, yeah. And I've been watching some of the MLS stuff because that's been on ESPN. Been watching some of that, the morning games. I mean, look, I remember like being a young kid and playing soccer, and like on Saturdays you have to get up at like 7 in the morning to go play a 9 o'clock game. That's what it feels like. It feels like a glorified like recreational game. Like there's not like no fans there, like a game. Like you'd only have your parents there, and that'd be it. All right, you know what I mean? It's like it just feels like it doesn't even feel like pro soccer. Like seriously, but it's kind of fun to watch. But compared to world soccer, MLS is not even close to like Premier League or any of that stuff. MLS is just different. Just different. Yeah. So that's all I got. You got anything else you want to add?
No, everything that I wanted to add, I already added. So
good. Oh, real quick. So Michael Thomas is another 99 overall rating on Madden. So good for him. But the memes though.
It looks like It looks like EA is going to be making some adjustments because the beta that was released isn't 100% accurate. So for all we know, George Kittle could also be a 99.
I wouldn't object to that. I think Gronk's rated too high too. By the way, Gronk's a good.
I think there are some people that he's rated higher than that. I would not rate him higher than, period. But I would rank him in the high 80s, honestly.
Stephon Gilmore was also another 99 rating, so good for him. I think Lattimore was rated way too low, by the way. I think Lattimore should be higher.
Yeah.
I don't know what his rating is. I think it's low 80s, though. He needs to be higher. Yeah. They're going to fix all that, I think, once everything gets whatever.
Yeah.
And also, rookies rookies getting mad at their Madden rating is dumb. Because, you're a rookie.
Yeah, I mean, this is a different game from college. And, I mean, I don't care if you were even Joe Burrow. I mean, we don't know how you're going to perform in the pros. So it makes sense not to give them a 95 rating right off the bat.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do good this season, then, yeah, next Madden you'll get a good rating, but not this season.
Kyler Murray got disrespected, though.
Yeah, a lot of people got disrespected, but, it is what it is.
It is what it is. You know what, though? It's like just be happy you're in a video game. Jesus Christ. Also,
yeah,
I saw a Meeks rating. I think a Meeks rating was a 68 or a 69, I think. Possibly, if I remember correctly. Something like that. Which is not bad. I mean, not that bad rating for a rookie, And also,
I mean, for being drafted in the 4th round,
I mean, it'll go up. And also, I don't know if you saw this. So his number when he first got with the Raiders was going to be a 41. They let him switch back to 21. His college number.
Nice.
So, oh boy, I'm excited for that.
We gotta get that boy on this show. We gotta get him on the show.
Yeah. You know what? He's the only player that because we played the Raiders week 2, I think. The Saints do. So if he picks off Drew Brees, I'm not even gonna be mad. I'm like, what? That's the one interception I won't be mad at.
I'll be like, you know what? Good for you, Amik.
Good for you, Amik.
Get that pick.
You just picked off the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. Congratulations.
Go. We go.
Yep. So I think that's going to do it for this episode. Like, subscribe, comment, follow us on Instagram at Sportschat with DJMatt1. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back next week with probably more baseball news and basketball news because the season will start next week for basketball. So that's huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably some more football news. So we're gonna start getting jam-packed pretty soon. I like it.
Right, we won't have to go back to lists anymore. Yay.
Yay, no more lists. No more lists.
We already had the penultimate list, the 2-hour special.
Yeah. Yeah, we might not do lists for another 3 years, so there you go.
Yeah. I mean, after that 2-parter.
Yeah.
That one was just to prove a point, okay? That was just a
point. Yeah. If it went for Chris Sims, that list wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, probably not.
Yep. So anyway, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you guys for watching. And stay safe. Wear a mask, please. For the love of God, wear a mask so we can have sports still. Jesus Christ. Don't be stupid.
You saw that there are some people selling wear a mask so we can have football?
Yeah.
Like on the
Yeah. I mean, we're in desperate measures right now to keep sports around. Anyway, thank you guys for watching.